We watch a movie, maybe so do you. Then we sum it up and call it out with a beverage or two. It's the Wine and Whiskey Horror Show.
Is it recording?
Yeah, it's recording.
Welcome. We watched The Witch. I'm a witch. Welcome to my home. The camera opens on praying Puritans. Mostly men. There's like some children.
Men and children.
Men and children with one wife. A strong start. Some of the men are berating one of the men. They're yelling at him because he has been praying too hard. He's hardcore Puritan and they're like softcore Puritan. So they're kicked out. Their family's kicked out. They have to leave the Puritan colony. And then I guess it like flashes forward to like 8 months later. There's a field. JK. Here's a house. It's a whole farm. There's William the father. Catherine the angry mother. There's a lot of angry women. Thomasin.
The hero.
The hero slash anti-hero. Is it significant that the last 3 letters of her name are Sin?
Yes.
Probably. Jonas and Mercy, horror twins. Caleb, pubescent son who like is struggling with religion already.
Aren't they all?
But like he's the most. He like cries in the woods during prayer more than everyone else. Let's not forget Samuel the baby who's on screen for about 7 seconds. This movie is filmed through the Instagram filter of sad, bleak, and gray. Then Thomasin, my hat's too small. It just keeps falling off. Thomasin is playing peekaboo with Samuel, and he's like on a blanket. He has this really nice like fisherman sweater that like no one else has a sweater as nice as Samuel. She's playing peekaboo with him, and she's like peekaboo, 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 and you're like, fuck, what's gonna go wrong? And then she peekaboos, and he's gone. They all look for him, right?
They kind of skip over that part, to be honest.
Yeah, they're like...
Flash forward 4 days.
Flash forward 4 days, and they're like, we looked for him in the woods.
You must have looked really hard.
Everyone in the audience is like, how'd that go? It did not go well. They didn't find him. Oh, but we see between him disappearing and 4 days later when they looked for him, apparently. I'm sure they did. You see him, he's on a little blanket, and then you see like old lady hands. This is where feminism comes in. Society has some shit to burn with the idea of the crone, and I am pissed off about it. They're exiled because dad fucked up, so they have to leave. And then they get there, and then the minute they get there, shit starts going down because of an old lady. I think that this movie, like, is aware of this, sort of, but also, like, plays right into the, like, the real problem, spoiler alert, at the end is an old lady. Baby on a blanket, old lady, wrinkly hands, knife comes out. You just see, like, the back of the old lady. Well, fuck, what is she doing? And she's, like, baby blending. Bathing in the blood of Samuel. It's super dark. Back at the ranch, the dad is like, Caleb, we must move on. Dad takes Caleb, pubescent son, out into the woods and is like, we're gonna do the man's work, which is hunting for animals in the traps that I bought with your mother's silver cup. But then they just start talking about God. Dad, am I going to hell? And his dad is like, I really don't know. The traps clearly aren't working. A hare appears in the forest. He tries to shoot the hare. It backfires and like smacks him in the eyeball, and the hare gets away. Side note, there's so much folklore where witches can turn into rabbits. It's in Harry Potter too. That's probably where I heard it. When the grounds were deserted once more, there wriggled from a hole between the roots of a tree stump a stout and whiskery old rabbit, a wand clamped between her teeth. Back at home, Jonas and Mercy are making up the song about Black Phillip the Goat. Black Phillip, Black Phillip. They clearly are super annoying. Mom's pissed. She's like, where'd you go? Dad says nothing. He doesn't confess his sin of lying about the silver cup that he stole.
Sin.
A sin!
A sin!
A sin! where everyone gets in a fight. The rest of the children come out and they're all like, "You were mean to me!" And then they're all shouting.
Is this when she goes down to the creek?
Thomason,
Go wash.
strip your father of his shirt and take it to the creek. There's some weird tension, and then takes it down to the creek. Caleb, meanwhile, has like been staring at her boobs, at Thomason's boobs, for like the whole movie. He's probably 13, no other boobs in the land except his mom's. So you kind of get it, but also like it's kind of uncomfortable. He comes and sits on her lap and then snuggles. And it's like pretty cute. Mercy comes along and is like, "I'm a witch, I'm a witch." Thomason is like, "Hush thy mouth." Why does Thomason yell at Mercy?
That's a great question.
She's like, "Mercy, you're right, there is a witch in the wood." Mercy's like, "The witch stole Samuel." That's important because she did. Thomason is like, "You're right, there is a witch in the wood, and it is me, and I will come and get you and eat you." And she like pushes Mercy to the ground. They all go back. They all go to bed. And Mom and Dad go to bed, and they're like, "We have so many problems because we're Puritans living on the edge of the woods in New England. We're going to let Thomason become a servant somewhere else. Make her. Thomason, can you hear us?" And Thomason doesn't say anything because she's not stupid. There's like a piece of cloth of a wall between them. All of the kids are awake listening. So she hears that. And then she gets up, and she sees that Caleb is gone, and she goes and follows him out to the barn, and Caleb is like saddling a horse. And she's like, "Caleb, what are you doing? Are you running away?" And he's like, "I'm not. If you let me do what I'm doing, I will come back tomorrow and you won't have to go become a servant girl somewhere anymore." And she's like, "Well, let me come with you or I'll wake up our parents right now." And so they go out into the woods. The hare appears, right? Caleb is like, "I have a vendetta," and goes after the hare with this gun that is like twice as tall as his body. The horse spooks, throws Thomas into the ground. She hits her head. She's out. Where does the horse go? I think it runs away.
It's
Okay,
like,
the horse
fuck
runs
this
away.
shit.
The parents wake up and they're like, "Where is everyone? They're gone." And they're all yelling in the woods, "Thomas and Caleb, Thomas and Caleb." You're like, "We know where they are. They're toast." Caleb especially, because he keeps running through the woods after the rabbit, which we all know now is the witch. And the witch is like, "Follow me." Caleb gets to like the spooky cave entrance and is like, "I think I'll walk up there." Buckle up. Feminism 101. Out of the cave mouth comes this like boobalicious lady with a cape. Caleb is like, "I'm 12, so sure." The villain of this story is two things. One, an old saggy woman. Two, a young busty woman. I don't think that the way to like highlight the fact that like women were targeted is to be like, the villain of the story is a busty lady who's also an old lady, but they're both bad. Sexy ladies are bad, they're temptresses and can't be trusted. But also when she gets older, also devil's work. Caleb goes up to the sexy lady and is like, "I'm crying," and she's like, "I'm gonna kiss you." Back at the ranch, they're still looking for him. Thomason wakes up and she's like, "I'm here, I'm here." And her dad comes and is like, "My girl, my girl." It's a very tender moment and you're like, oh, he's not a bad dad, even though he like got them exiled. And they're like going about their business, kind of waiting for Caleb, and they all get ready for bed, and she goes out to bed down the goats. She is like, "Bed, bed, bed," then goes out to the gate. Leaning on the gate is naked Caleb, who's like crying and sopping wet because it's raining. She brings him inside, they all freak out, they lay him down on some pallet. The next day, Thomason and Mercy go out to milk the goats. Milk, 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 and out comes Blurred. Poor goat. Then they go back inside, and the parents are like, "What's up?" They don't say that, they're like, "Where hast thou been?" They're like, "We should pray. We must pray for our son." Mercy is like, "Thomason is definitely a witch and she's cursed Caleb and she told me she would eat me." Then they all have a fight. You know what? We'll just all pray. Jonas and Mercy, terror twins, are like, "We can't remember our prayer. That it's because of Thomason." The twins like fall on the ground. Caleb wakes up and says this like terrifying prayer where he's like, "Jesus, my love." Is super into it and is like caressing his own face. He's a young boy and he has a sort of strange orgasmic moment, and then collapses back, and then he dies. And they're all like, Caleb, oh no. They gotta eat, so Dad's like, I'm gonna go check on the corn. There's a lot of beating of the corn. He chops so much wood. Anytime Dad's sad or scared, which is the whole movie, he goes outside and chops some wood or beats some corn. Caleb's down, Samuel's down. Thomas comes out and is like, you know it wasn't me, right?
She runs out, he follows.
She runs out of the prayer circle. He follows her and is like, everything will be cool. I guess he wasn't beating corn, sorry. Everything will be fine if only you tell me that you're a witch and you can confess and we'll go back to the plantation and all will be well. And she's like, but I'm not a witch. It was Mercy, and she came and told me that she was a witch first, and she's been talking with Black Phillip, and they've been conspiring in the barn. The whole family is imploding on itself. They're all blaming each other. Dad's like, the clear solution here is for me to take you out to the goat barn and lock you in the barn with Black Phillip. He locks Jonas, Mercy, and Thomason in the goat barn with Black Phillip and the other goats. Night falls. Thomason is like, are you guys witches? And then she's like, do you really talk to Black Phillip? And they don't say anything.
They also don't say they're not witches.
They don't. But Mercy and Jonas are like, quick question, are you also a witch? I mean, are you a witch? How about those Red Sox? Mom and Dad are sleeping. Mom wakes up and hears something, goes into the like dining area. Sitting there are it's Caleb and he's holding Samuel. Caleb only talks to her in a whisper, and you're like, that is bad news. And then they're like, well, can we read something together? And she's like, of course. And you're like, so then she breastfeeds, but she thinks it's Samuel, but it's actually just a crow pecking at her. Oh God. Meanwhile, in the barn, then Thomason is like, Mercy, is that you? And she looks over, and you see the back of the witch eating something. Dad gets up in the morning, climbs over Mom, who's bleeding openly, doesn't notice, it's fine. Comes outside and is like, oh shit, the goat barn is totally broken. All the goats are like skinned and around in the yard. Thomason is lying there. Out of nowhere comes Black Phillip and like gouges him in the side with his horns. Dad is like, I will defeat sin, and takes the axe, and then Black Phillip like gouges him again. Also, Black Phillip like gets up on his hind legs and is like, and that's the cue that he's definitely not a normal goat. The mom comes out and is like, what have you done, Thomason? And everyone, including Thomason, is like, why blame it always on Thomason?
Everyone being only Thomason at this point.
Right. And mother is like, you took my babies. And Thomason is like, I am your baby. And then Thomason has to reach for like some kind of trowel. Hits her mom over the head, and she has to kill her mom, and they're like fighting, and she beats her mom, and Mom dies. Where the fuck are Mercy and Jonas? Thomason gets up and like pushes her mom off. She goes into the dining room. She gets a blanket. She lies on the table. Hours pass. She hears some creepy chimes. I guess I'll go to the goat barn where the creepy chimes are coming from. Goes in and is like, Black Phillip, talk to me like you talk to Mercy and Jonas. So then you're like, he's a goat. He's not gonna talk. And then he talks. What do you want? And then offers her all sorts of cool stuff, like a new dress and butter. A, take off your dress, have some feelings about that, and B, sign your name in this book. So she's like, okay. She goes into the woods, music starts building. It shows all these women dancing, and they're dancing, and they're dancing. She joins them. They're all like dancing around a fire in the nude and laughing. Compared to the rest of the time with her family, it seems pretty great. Baby killing is not a plus. If you just sequestered the scene and were like, it's just the scene, what's not to love? And then they start to fly. She goes for it. last shot, she's like laughing a little too much, laughing in a way that isn't fun anymore. And then she's like up, way in the air, in a tree. Themes of the movie: guilt, sin, goats, boobs, blood. I really think that we need to talk about the ladies being the root of the sin, though. Thomason, honestly, had the short end of the stick for all of the movie. Ugh, it's gonna take like 3 days for my body to unclench. Thank you for watching. Next time, we will be watching Jennifer's Body.
Yeah.
More talk of feminism, more talk of female bodies and how they're represented, and infinitely more like early 2000s outfits.
Wow.